how would you define a world citizen?
World citizen. Yeah, that's another very interesting label that many of us like to put on ourselves, but I think the challenge is very hard. I must confess before you that I myself had totally different ideas about being a world citizen till I read J. Krishnamurti. So I am sharing with you my latest version, which I am confident is a saner, far saner understanding of being world citizen. Okay, in simple terms, to think that somebody is a world citizen because he or she is exposed to cultures of Europe and Australia, Africa and Far East or such things is wrong. It's not a matter of being exposed or having traveled widely, knowing several languages and eating several kinds of food, you know. These are all immature ideas. At best these could be decorative to a world citizen. But the essence of world citizen, which I have learned through coming in contact with Krishnaji's questions, is to be someone who is free from nationalism, who is free from any idea of my country is holier than another country, who has a sensitivity to human being per se. If I have prejudice for Jewish people and against Palestinians, then no matter how widely I am travelled and how knowledgeable and how nicely I talk about different parts of the world, that prejudice makes me a narrow citizen. I may not have travelled widely, but for me the suffering of a Palestinian or a Jewish person, suffering of a Hindu or a Muslim, suffering of blacks in Africa or whites in England, let's say, are all important or worth considering. I feel pained equally. That kind of freedom from bias, freedom from any prejudice for or against particular communities would make me a world citizen. So some villager who has not gone beyond 100 kilometers from his village, in this sense could be a world citizen. For suppose you take him to Japan, he will not look at Japanese people with some kind of they are different, I am different. This villager's mind is simple, pure, his heart is clean. That is what makes somebody a world citizen. But popularly these other ideas of knowing something from everywhere a little bit, they have come into picture. As I already said, they could be decorative. Just as I mentioned earlier about holistic education, a school cannot claim to have holistic education by offering number of things. All kinds of sports and all kinds of things are there in the school. Several languages are taught and exercise and everything is there. That doesn't make a school holistic. Whereas another school may be having only 1/10 of the facilities as the first one, awakens the sensitivity of the student. The student understands herself thoroughly, her body, her mind, her values, her beliefs. The student, with much less of infrastructure, has open-minded approach. Then that school is a more holistic school, because holistic begins in the heart and not in the outside in approach. So coming back to world citizen, a world citizen is someone who is free from bias and prejudice for or against any country. he or she is sensitive to what a human being is going through without considering who that human being is, without looking at the label. The human being is going through some conflict, some suffering. Let us examine it. That approach would make somebody a world citizen.